Okay, today's mess is this oil leak. This thing is pissing oil. I just got this thing in here. There's a couple drips up there. You can see there's already some fresh oil on the cardboard that I put down. So this thing has, get this light, it has a oil filter relocation. You can see in here, and it is just a mess. So it looks like, well, there is room between the fitting, but not much. So my guess is the fitting into the block has either loosened up or the swivel 90. That's what it looks like. There's oil on the block too, but I can't tell if that's coming from above or not. My other option is to pop this axle out, take that block out, get rid of the relocation, and put a factory oil filter mount in there. Maybe an option. Let's see if I could see it from over here. Not really. You can kind of see where the braided line runs, and there's a factory 84 through 87, I guess, style oil pressure, and then check valve, and then the braided line which goes up to the filter. So this is kind of a mess in here. I'm gonna have to dig around a little bit and see what's actually leaking. I don't think that the fittings here are leaking. I think maybe it's the swivel or the adapter that's just above it that you can kind of see there, that shiny hex that looks like it's pretty beat up. Not sure. This was on the car when I got it, so let's see. I'm gonna try and tighten it up and see if they're loose, and if they're snug, probably gonna pop this axle and just get rid of it. So yeah, I'll see. Okay, I got the area a little more cleaned up. And what I found is there's not a swivel adapter or fitting like I thought. What it appears is, if I can get the light good, it looks like there is an adapter from maybe 1/4 inch NPT, maybe as a spacer, or it's NPT to flare. And then there's actually a 90-degree fitting there. That's not a swivel 90. It's just a male-to-male 90-degree fitting. And then the other thing that I got there is, this is a swivel 90, closest to me. That's part of the braided line. So let me see if I can get the flashlight to stay. Okay, so what's happening now is this here in the block is tight. That's the adapter. And then the male-to-male 90 is incredibly loose. I don't know if that's broken or if it just needs to go a couple turns. Maybe there was a sealant used on there. Either way, it's either broken or extremely loose. So it's not something I could just tighten up and repair. The other problem is that this has the potential, and you can kind of see it's shiny there, to hit the axle. So I think this thing spun. So if I move it over, I can't really get it from here. See, this could come way over, which is probably where it was originally at one time, not back over here. So rather than try to repair this, I don't really like it anyway. I think Intense made these years ago, but yeah, there's just, everything's coated in oil. I cleaned it up a little bit. This is a Northern car, so I guess this is one way to keep it clean, free of rust. Not clean, but I don't like it. So I do have plenty of adapters for this, all different styles. I have the Impala one, or the Police Interceptor, I think it's called, which had the oil cooler if I do want to keep it remote. Probably will not. I'll probably just take this thing out, put a factory one back in it, put the oil filter horizontal over here on top of the frame, which sucks, but it's the way a lot of them do it, and just go with that. So yeah, that's my finding for now. Try and get this a little more cleaned up and then take it apart a little bit further. Okay, got the wheel off, got the axle pulled out of the way. Kind of see what we're working with in here now. So you can see the check valve for the braided line that comes down into the we'll say the upper right fitting, and then the 90-degree fitting, which comes out, goes downward, and then makes that loop. Pull this thing around. Okay, there we go. So yeah, it's a mess. Let me hook this light up here somewhere. All right, well, the light doesn't want to stay, so here's what it is. Okay, well, can't see a dang thing. Let's see. Yeah, not gonna work. Anyways, we can get this light over there. Okay, there we go. So this fitting here, I think that's the major leaker. This one is pretty screwed up. You could see that thing there is just probably broken, or there's a little pin right there, and that could be bent or missing or wiggled out. I don't know, but this thing is not good. So I'm gonna pull this fitting off first. I'm gonna take a look and see what that thing's looking like. Everything is just nasty. It's got to get filled. This is using recessed socket head cap screws. I don't know if I can get to all of them. Let's see if I can see where the other one is. Yeah, there's two that you could see there. Maybe a third one. And the last one must be behind the oil sending unit, which I'd like to get rid of that, put an 88 sending unit on this anyways. But I think from here I can get everything I need to either disassemble and clean this, or just remove it all together and put on a stock unit. I'm not sure, but right now I'm going to do some more cleaning and get this apart and see what's going on with that. Then I'll go from there, but yeah, it's not looking good. After a little back and forth, I decided to just pull the axle. So pop the axle out of the trans, and I got the block off the engine. I just got to get that cleaned up. I'll pull these hoses out from up top. Oh, that looks to be pretty good, pretty clean in there. So this was the block that was there. It's convenient. It allowed for a mechanical oil pressure gauge, which they say you should use, because that nut that you see there with the set screw, that actually pushes on the bypass spring and piston thing there to allow you to adjust the oil pressure. So you need to have a gauge on it to know what that pressure is. They say flush or a little bit past flush will give you, the stock versus a little bit more pressure, like you could find in the higher pressure oil kit, which I believe is just the newer Series 3 that they put into the Series 2. But I had this one here. This is modified. Well, it's from an Impala, but it's modified with this bolt that goes in to hold the sandwich in there, and then you can run an oil cooler. I'm not going to run that. I'm going to run this standard Grand Prix offset, puts the filter over the frame rail. So I'm going to get this cleaned up and then clean up the engine side up in here. It's got a lot to clean up in there, and then put the oil sending unit back in, put a standard oil filter on there, and hopefully get this thing back on the ground and running again. So now, cleaning time. And there we are, a couple minutes later. This is all cleaned up. It's not perfect. It's got some cooked on grease, but I'm not worried about it. Got the gasket all cleaned off, got it all degreased, blown out. All that looks to be good. Cleaned the bolts too while I was at it. I got the car cleaned up in here. Let's see if I can get you in here. Well, maybe not, but you're gonna have to take my word for it. Yeah. Anyway, probably dizzy. It's cleaned up in there. That's all taken care of now. Hit it with a little bit of degreaser again right before I put the adapter back on. I have new gasket, new filter. This is pressure piston that I was saying the other unit would push on to kind of increase the pressure or the bypass. So now I just got to get that degreased once again and put everything on, be able to get the filter on, get the axle back in, and this thing should be able to come back off the lift. So there it is. I got the new housing adapter on, everything's bolted up, got the oil filter pre-filled, screwed on there. Now looking around, you see the clearance, that's a PF 47. I might be able to get a PF 52 on there. I wasn't too sure. Every engine sits a little different. This one sits pretty high, which is worrying me now because I have a full stack intercooler I plan to do, and with these mounts probably gonna be a lot of deck lid cutting. Not that I worry about this underneath the oil filter area, but it's gonna push the blower up and it's gonna cause some issues up top. So get this thing down on the ground, get those two lines out right there, those two braided lines, nasty, and then this thing is gonna need some pressure washing. Look at how much stuff is just caked everywhere. Definitely gonna do that one at the coin op instead of in the backyard. But yeah, other than that, that's all good. That should fix the oil leak. We'll get this thing on the ground, get the wheels back on it, do some stuff up top, and she should be done. That completes this project, hopefully. I just want to show you where the old filter was mounted. So those lines you saw, they come up from here, and then nice remote filter right there, which was great. It was easy to change. A lot for this nice big filter. This was a 51515 XP, which is pretty good Wix filter. There was a check valve to prevent the draining, but yeah, it just caused too many issues at the block, which I could have replaced the fitting and put better lines on it and kept it here. I'm just not that worried about it. I'm not that interested in having this remote set up. So I'm gonna go back to the factory design and get that unbolted. And that'll be it. Thanks again for watching.